Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update on the current situation in Spain. Day 212 of the current situation, and today it's all about another region in Spain imposing restrictions in order to get the health situation in that particular area under control. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. Today is also the 12th of October, public holiday here in Spain. As we know, public holidays here are called puentes or bridges, and today of course is Spain's National Day, a day that they call here El Día de la Hispanidad. Firstly, a big thanks to people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that supported the channel through a small donation. You can see your name here. Thanks to people that bought merchandise, and a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your support. Now, as I said, it's all about another part of Spain imposing restrictions in order to get the virus under control. We can see here that Navarre in the north of Spain has decided to reduce hospitality capacity to 30%. All establishments will have to close at 10 p.m. and gatherings will be limited to 6 people, but mobility will not be restricted. The president of Navarre does not rule out tightening the norm if the contagion curve does not bend in 15 days, and their situation differs from the situation in Madrid. She says that nobody had to come to Navarre to impose measures. Now we'll have a look at the health data in Navarre and see the numbers that brought about these restrictions. We can see here that there's a total number of cases of 21,016, new cases 463, diagnosed in the last 24 hours 452, and the cumulative incidence rate is 675.31. The amount of deceased is 611 in total. That's an increase of 4, and deaths in the last 7 days numbered at 22. Now the important hospital pressure, we can see here the amount of people hospitalized for coronavirus is 11.40%, and the pressure in the ICU units is at 23.26%, with 242 patients hospitalized for coronavirus and 30 patients in the ICU. So Navarre, they're imposing restrictions of their own accord, not waiting for the central government to do so, which is what happened in Madrid, of course. And the president of Navarre giving Madrid a little drive-by by saying that nobody had to come and impose the measures on Navarre. Now, unfortunately, the situation is also worsening in other parts of Spain. We can see here that the data shows that Catalonia will be as bad as Madrid within 15 days. If measures are not taken to stop the contagion, the incidence in Catalonia is on the way to surpass that of Madrid. The number of new cases of coronavirus infection diagnosed in Catalonia, which had remained stable at around 1,000 a day from the beginning of April to the end of September, has skyrocketed since the end of September and is now close to 1,500. So the health situation in Catalonia is starting to get worse, and saying that if they don't implement measures now, they will surpass Madrid in coming weeks. So no doubt some restrictions will be announced in that part of the world in coming days. Now we've all seen the impact that the coronavirus has had on the economy here in Spain. We know that tourism, for example, one of the most important sectors in the country, has been decimated by the coronavirus, and also the restaurant industry, bar industry, nightlife industry as well. And of course, all of the problems with the economy, rising unemployment, means that people start to look for new ways to make money. We can see here that Spain has become a cannabis hub as criminals fill tourism void. With high profit margins and low risk of long jail time, Catalonia is now the marijuana capital of Europe, police warn. The decor is nightclub chic meets Turkish opium den, the lighting soft pink and electric blue, and were it not for a sweet waft of marijuana, it could be the lobby of a Las Vegas boutique hotel. In fact, it's one of Barcelona's 156 cannabis clubs, known as associations. The idea was a quiet place where you could buy and smoke marijuana, often grown by members, and on the premises, but many are now businesses and police say fronts for drug mafias. With the collapse of tourism, the cannabis business is one of the very few things thriving in Catalonia, but beyond the low lights and chilled vibe of associations, darker forces are in play. An internal report by the Mossos d'Esquadra, the Catalan police, claims Catalonia is the epicenter of Europe's illegal marijuana market and has become a net exporter of cannabis to other European countries. With high profits and low risk, jail sentences rarely exceed 2 years, gangs from Europe are fighting one another to control the market, says the report. Over the past year, police have broken up 34 criminal organizations connected to cannabis and destroyed 319 plantations. Americans. So according to that article, Spain now a cannabis hub in order to fill that tourism void. And it's a question that I often ask myself, and it's one that was also posed in the comment section recently. Somebody suggested that maybe Spain should legalize marijuana in order to get the tax income from such a potentially lucrative business and take it out of the hands of the mafia. But nobody ever seems to put that idea on the table. I don't know why. Now, of course, here in Spain, we're well into the second wave of the coronavirus, and it is one of the main concerns of people in this country. We can see here that more than 87% of Spaniards are quite or very concerned about the second wave of the virus. The emergence of the coronavirus in Spain has changed the lives of many people who now watch with concern how the second wave of infections develops. More than 87% are very concerned about this new contagion curve, and 90% of the population is pessimistic about the economic situation in Spain. So 87% quite or very concerned about the health situation here in Spain, and it is the general focus of conversation amongst people. When you go out into the street and you talk to people, it is their main worry at the moment. And as we have seen in recent times, people also very skeptical about whether politicians will be able to get the situation under control. So things not looking good at the moment. Now, there's been a lot of negativity in foreign press about Spain in recent times, but none more so than this article here, with the headline here, "The world press begins to see Spain as a failed state. European markets doubt Spain's ability to manage European funds." European markets are beginning to see Spain as a failed state and doubt the country's ability to manage the European funds it receives from the Union to face the economic consequences of the pandemic. The question is whether the country is sufficiently prepared for the considerable inflow of European funds, asked Frederick Leopold Sell, chairman of the Scientific Advisory Board of the Halle Institute for Economic Research and professor of economics in Munich, before concluding that this must be questioned. And one publication that does question whether Spain will be able to spend those European funds wisely is The Economist, and they recently had an article with the headlines, "Dancing with Death, Spain's poisonous politics have worsened the pandemic and the economy." So the world press beginning to see Spain as a failed state. I don't know if it's that bad yet, but it does seem to be heading in that direction. Now, yesterday it was all about Rafa Nadal and his 13th French Open title, setting a record there, but he also had some positive words for the people in Spain, and he said that let's be positive, we will beat the virus soon. So some positive words there from one of Spain's greatest ever athletes. On that note, let's have a look at some of the comments from recent videos. One here from Alison. "Boris Johnson speaks English, French, Italian and Latin." Yeah, thanks for the comment there, Alison. I referred to that yesterday, that I made a mistake there because I said the other day that I didn't think Boris Johnson spoke foreign languages. How wrong I was. Lots of people pointed it out to me in the comment section that Boris Johnson is in fact a polyglot. He speaks various languages, French, Italian, Latin, English of course, so he does have some foreign language skills, Mr. Johnson. So thanks for pointing that out to me. One here from Kathleen. "I'm English and you don't come across anti-British to me. Any anti-English cricketing comments pass me by as I'm not a cricket fan." Yeah, Kathleen, thanks for the comment. Good to see that you don't think that I am anti-British. I don't think that I am anti-British either. Maybe I have made a few comments in the past. I don't know. I can't remember. But in general, I don't think that I am anti-British. Maybe when it comes to sport, if there's a cricket game on or a rugby game on and there's a little bit at stake, maybe I become anti-British. Maybe I become anti-English, of course, because I support Australia and I want to see them win. And basically it's anti-patriotic in Australia if you don't get stuck into the Poms when there's an Ashes series on. But that's about the only time that I would consider myself to be anti-British or anti-English. One here from Debbie. "While travelling in Spain in 2017, one of our tour guides said that there are 4 reasons Spaniards live a long life. 1, siestas, long may they live. 2, olive oil in about everything. 3, their diet. And finally 4, drinking so much wine. Never change, Spain, never change." Yeah, Debbie, thanks for the comment. You're right, Spanish people do in general lead long lives. One of the reasons for that obviously is the Mediterranean diet. Another reason could be the siesta, I don't know. But I think it is a fact that Spanish people have one of the longest lifespans in Europe, if not the world, only on par, I think, with the Japanese, and some of the points that you mentioned there could be some of the reasons for Spaniards' longevity. One here from Joanne. Spain used to be well known for its leather goods, glassware, jewellery and textiles. Rather than reinventing the wheel, Spain should go back to what she knows best in manufacturing the above items. Traditional Spanish heritage can be made at home instead of exporting the work to China and Asia. Now Spain has learned the hard way not to be too reliant on the tourist industry. Unfortunately, I don't think Sanchez has any business experience and is incapable of leading Spain economically out of this mess. Yeah, Joanne, thanks for the comment. A lot of people would agree with you that Mr. Sanchez doesn't have a lot of business experience, and people question whether he will be able to lead the country out of recession. Of course, we know that he has a lot of money in his hands, and it's going to be interesting to see where he spends it. And a lot of people are hoping that he does spend it on making the country more business friendly, providing jobs, and of course getting Spain out of the situation that it is in. And that is something that you do hear a lot. Spanish people will tell you all the time that they did have a big manufacturing base, but unfortunately in recent years a lot of that manufacturing was moved offshore, as you mentioned there, to China, to other Asian countries, and of course, which has been the trend around the world, not just here in Spain. And of course, when you want it, it's difficult to get it back, but that's a situation that the country is in, but hopefully it can rebuild some of those sectors. One here from Ken. The problems with lockdowns and people who cry that their freedoms are being infringed upon is that they are responsible in part for this state, as they are the ones who won't social distance and wear masks. We can prevent lockdowns and closures by just utilizing common sense. Come on, people. Yeah, Ken, thanks for the comment. You can get that impression that the people that are crying that their freedoms are being restricted and lost are the people that are not adhering to the rules. You hear it quite a lot amongst the younger generations that they can't do this, they can't do that, that their freedoms are being infringed on. And it could be said that some of the younger generations are having problem adhering to the new rules, like wearing masks or social distancing, and their love of partying is the most important thing in their lives. And you might be right there that we could avoid lockdowns if people had more common sense, but unfortunately common sense does seem to be the main thing that is lacking during this pandemic. And finally, one here from Landlord. Politicians can't create jobs unless they make life easier for the business community. Yeah, Landlord, thanks for the comment. I agree wholeheartedly with that statement. You need people to create jobs. You need small businesses to start. Of course, they need to employ people. And of course, you need governments to provide that business-friendly environment so that companies can grow and flourish. But as we have mentioned in numerous videos, this is not really an entrepreneurial country. People don't like to start businesses because there's too much risk involved. And of course, I don't know whether the current government of Mr. Sanchez and Mr. Iglesias is going to change that anytime soon. However, we live in hope. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.